Pi's Monday training session has finished. I focused on a couple of players. Let's get into it. So on Mondays, training is just like fundamental training. So it's a really easy session. They start at 11 o'clock at the AIA Centre. The first couple of hours must be like, vision and planning what they're doing for the week and stuff like that. So that's why they come out a little bit later than Tuesday and Friday, which is at 9 a.m., which is more full ground, more more game plan sort of stuff, where this one is just basic skills. But even though it's basic skills, and yes, everyone should be able to do these, but you still want to sort of look at the players, look at the new players, look at the players that are returning, look at the ones that you sort of, want to focus on, the kids and stuff like that. So I have picked out a couple of players and got a little bit of vision of them that I wanted to look at today. Now, if you haven't already, there's a bunch of people not subscribed that are watching. So if you can, hit that subscribe button. Really want to get to 10,000 before the end of the year. We're only 400 or so off. It would mean the absolute world to me. Love you so much. If you're already subscribed, we'll love you even more if you're not subscribed and you hit that subscribe button. But let's get into it. So the first guy that I wanted to sort of really focus on was Reef McInnes. We know, and I've said it multiple times, he will be training with the backline. He'll be playing in the backline. What I wanted to see today in fundamental training was how he went about, his skill sharpening up, because we know that he can take a really good mark. We know he's, really smart. He's got a good footy IQ. But what was his sort of skills like coming out of that sort of backline and coming out of that sort of skill work? So I thought he did really well today. He did great at training. There were some hits, there were some kicks that he wasn't sort of hitting the mark. And you can kind of see in that vision where he sort of, it's those, the jolting left and right and then trying to hit, just trying to hit it off, that he can improve a little bit. But again, it was pretty windy at training today, so you kind of give him a pass for that. But everything else, where he's running, where he's marking the ball, where he's trying to get it at its highest point, I thought he did fantastic. The biggest question for me with Reef going forward is he best 23 straight away? Is he playing round 0? Is he playing the start of the season? Whose position is he overtaking? Because we know that Dan Houston takes John Noble's position straight away, so that's done and dusted. Whose position is Reef McInnes taking? We do know at the end of the year, we had Ed Allen playing and Will Parker playing. But again, we had a couple of players that weren't playing. So Mychek wasn't playing, the guy wasn't playing, and these sort of guys. So they obviously come in as well. And we will do, I'll do a best 23 a little bit later. And then we'll do a live pick best 23, which will be a little bit of fun. But all in all, I thought Reef did really well today. I'm more keen to see him, focus more on him tomorrow, focus more on him on Friday when it is full ground drills and he is flying through that back line. The second guy I wanted to look at was Isaac Quaynor on his return. Now, we know that IQ had a bit of an interrupted sort of season where he was battling a couple of injuries, definitely a lot of form issues. It didn't help that Nathan Murphy wasn't there to sort of help him out. But the one thing with Quaynor was that it looked like this season he bulked up a lot, and we love that, right? He's a really good one-on-one player. But with bulking up, not that I'm a bloody big gym guy or anything like that. Not that I've got a PhD in any sort of thing like that. But with bulking up, when you get heavier, you get a little bit slower. So he did lose a lot of that power. He wasn't quick off the mark as he was last season. So his game suffered a little bit. On his return now, he's been doing a lot of training with Lipinski in the States. He looks leaner and he looks quicker. And that's only one session for, what did I see him for? An hour and a half maybe. But he already looks like he's dropped a couple of kilograms. And we're not going to know that because of the new sort of they're protecting the weight and stuff, and that's fine. I'm totally for that. But he does, to the eye test, he does look leaner and he does look quicker. So we could see a resurgence of IQ and what he was back in 2023 when he made the All-Australian 40 selection. So we could see that again. And that will be, he will be a weapon coming out of defense with Dan Houston. And we really, really need that. Now that Noble's not there, now that, Markov is probably not going to get as many senior opportunities as he did previously. The last guy I fully sort of focused on a lot was Rhy-William Smith. Now, we've talked a lot about Smith. I've told you how much I loved him and how big he is. And, he's only 19 and he's only been in the system for 6 or so months because he was that mid-season draft pick. So in the fundamentals, I really wanted to focus on him because he was training with the senior players. I did notice that he was training a lot with the forwards. But so was, Mason Cox training with the forwards, and then they do their own sort of ruck thing as well. But I did notice that Rue was training a lot with the forwards, with Myercheck, marking it at its highest point. And overhead, I think Rue is really good. So he marks it really well overhead. As I said, big guy, and he's built up for a 19-year-old. He still needs time to develop. His skills aren't up to scratch as much as the team is. And I know we talked about Reef as well, but Rue, dropping a couple of marks, not hitting much of the targets. But in saying that, he's only 19, he's only young, he can only get better. And at the moment, even though Oscar Steen's been in the system for a little bit longer, I do have Rue maybe debuting towards the end of the year if we're to give like Mason Cox or someone a chop out like that in front of Oscar Steen, because I think Rue, with that mongrel in him, and you can kind of see it a little bit in training, I think he'll be a big asset to the team. And that's why I think going into the draft, we're not going to be looking for we're not looking for rucks anymore, right? We're pretty much good on the ruck stocks with Steen and with Smith there. So I really liked what Rue brings to the table. Just has to clean up his disposal a little bit. But again, it was windy, so you kind of give him a bit of a break. And I'd love to see how he goes up against like a Mason or a Darcy when they're doing full ground drills, when it's really one team versus the other team, as opposed to just little drills here and there. But that's probably, not for a couple of weeks anyway. A couple of notable mentions is that Billy Frampton was training predominantly with the forward line today, which is really interesting. So Reef's gone back, Billy Frampton's gone forward. It could be a forward ruck thing because he did train with the rucks a little bit as well. I'm not opposed to it. I thought Frampton, as that defensive forward in the grand final, did obviously really well. But it doesn't really make sense if we've got Tim Membry up there as well. But again, Frampton is a little bit younger. Could they try to be developing him into like a big Mackay sort of, not as good as Mackay, obviously, but like that, that big muscle, tall forward. Could he be that guy that kind of helps us if Tim Membry, doesn't get a lot of games or whatever it may be, because we don't have those those forward stocks coming in from, we don't know forward depth. We really got no tall forward depth. They're probably trying to train Billy Frampton to be that guy. Dan Houston, again, looks absolutely incredible. I don't have it on camera, but he, off a couple of steps from about 55 meters, smashed it in, kicked the goal. That's what we're going to expect from Houston. And I'm telling you right now, teams are going to be kicking themselves that they didn't try harder to get Houston. And he is going to be just, I can't emphasize enough how much better we're going to be as a team with Dan Houston in that side. In saying that, there were a couple of players that weren't training, the senior players, because they don't come back until the 25th, so that's next week when they're all due back. Nick Dacos is still not there. Josh Dacos is still not there. But everyone else looked good. Fundamentals again, so there's not really much to report, but I wanted to do those 3 player focuses. Let me know your thoughts down below. Who do you want me to focus on tomorrow when it's full skill based? I'm thinking about maybe doing a Di Mattia player watch as well. So let me know your thoughts down below. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.